In this video, we will be building the Prodigy Gear Differential from eXcelerate RC. The Prodigy Gear Differential is available for the Prodigy 12, WGTR, Pro 10, and the F1 that we are building today. Let's go over the contents real quick. The parts are neatly separated in their bags. Here we have the ball bearings, 0.1 and 0.2 shims, 6mm and 8mm pins, as well as the O-rings. The next bag contains the differential case, planet gears, shaft sleeves, right side F1 hub, and an M4 set screw and lock nut. More on the latter. A small bag keeps the M2.5 hardware and M3 set screws from getting lost. This shaft is actually in two parts, each half with its own sun gear. A small tabletop vise, soldering third hand, connector soldering jig, or a small block of wood with a hole drilled in it can be used to keep the assembly upright and prevent small parts from falling out. In step 1, a ball bearing and O-ring is added to the main housing. Make sure that the bearing is seated properly. It will sit slightly proud in the housing. As customary, the O-ring will be lubricated before it is installed. Here I am using a PTFE seal grease from RockShox. This is the same as the green slime from Team Associated and is actually no-lean SF3. This once tub will last a lifetime of service. The main shaft is then inserted from the inside. The 0.2 and 0.1 mm shims are added in that order. Next is the short sleeve and 6mm pin. You may need to compress the O-ring slightly in order to get the pin holes to aligned. The same operation is performed with the other half of the housing and shaft. The first set of planet gears are installed on the shafts of the main housing. Lubrication is optional, but still recommended even with the relatively low rotational speed that these gears experience. The remaining 3 planet gears are simply dropped in. Make sure that the gears mesh properly. The gears will not bind once they are further constrained by the other gear shafts on the other half of the housing. The large O-ring is lubricated and installed on the housing before it is closed up. I am assembling the differential as dry as possible so that the weigh-in only includes the parts themselves without any differential grease or fluid. The shafts are aligned with the still free-floating gears that were dropped in earlier. The differential no longer binds now that all the planet gears are fully constrained. The differential is closed up using the provided M2.5 hardware. A 1.5mm hex driver is used here. The screws are not tightened completely. This will be done after all 3 screws have been installed finger tight. The differential action is butter smooth, comparable to a typical ball differential. A pin is used to drive the right side hub. The right side hub is clamped down using 2 screws. This will remove any play that is present in the assembly. Finally, the drive pin that was installed earlier is secured using a set screw via a through hole in the right side hub. The hub's diameter is much smaller than the typical F1 hub and does not use a differential cap with a threaded shaft for the wheel nut. The left side uses a sleeve to increase the diameter to 1/8 of an inch. The sleeve is secured using a pin and a set screw. Because the right side hub has a through hole to provide access to the drive pin set screw and there is no traditional differential cap with a threaded shaft, a long set screw is attached to a nut with thread locking compound, effectively creating a bolt for securing the wheel. Here is a comparison to a more traditional F1 differential hub. Notice the difference in the hub's diameter. This is possible because there are no ball bearings, Belleville washers, and lock nut inside the hub. Typical F1 hub also use a differential cap with an M4 thread for the wheel nut. And finally, here is the dry weight of the assembled gear differential without any diff fluid or grease. Spur gear and spur gear screws. And that was the brief overview and build of the F1 variant of the Prodigy Gear Differential from eXcelerate RC.